Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. I go by Pothead Picker on Instagram. I should also plug my stores, I guess, since that's pretty much the whole reason I'm doing the podcast. My eBay store is Flips and Giggles, and I just started doing Whatnot, so that's Flips and Giggles also. So you can follow me on both of those. Yeah, it was a rainy weekend, so, I still go out to yard sales. You got to look for the ones that are, rain or shine. So there was a couple on Saturday, but there was supposed to be a bunch on Saturday, and then they just all got rained out. But there was a couple people who still had some, and I went to one. What did I get at the first one? I don't even remember. For the life of me, I cannot remember what I got at the first sale. Yeah, I don't remember. So it was rainy. So I went to this other sale. This other sale had advertised some vintage video games. And so I went there. I got there first, but it was kind of like a weird drive. You had to kind of drive down, and it was kind of a pain in the ass to park. And it wasn't like you could just kind of cruise by to see what the deal was. You had to drive down, and then it was in the dude's garage. So I was like, the video games I saw in the picture weren't that great. And I was like, maybe they have some more. This is what they put out for pictures. It seemed almost like somebody who didn't know anything about video games was having the sale. But for some reason, I just got a feeling. I was like, I'll just go to the other sale first. Went there, I got a couple things, and then came back over to that other sale. When I got there, this guy had called me, this guy Mark that I know from yard sales. He always will hit me up. We kind of keep in communication because he doesn't look for the same shit, and I've talked about him before. But so he hit me up, and he was like, "Oh, all the dealers are here. There's video games and blah 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 blah." So I'm like, "All right, if there's dealers there and the video games are still there, that means they're probably overpriced." So I get there, and there's more of the video games than it had shown in the picture. But one, it was nothing that was really crazy valuable, and two, he had the prices way high, way high. So yeah. So he had sold a couple games. So I mean, I'm sure there was some collectors that were there too. So, but I was like, all right, whatever. So on the way out though, I had seen a sale. And they had opened up after 9 o'clock. So if I had gone, you know what I mean? So if I had gone and waited at the sale, I would have missed this other sale. So as I was driving out, I see this sign. So I pull in, it was literally right at the end of the street that other sale was at. So I don't know how anybody missed it. Well, I mean, maybe they didn't miss it, but so I went in and there was a Canon Elf 350 something power shot something. I can't remember the exact name, but it had the box, and the lady was like, "Oh, $5," and I've already sold it for $250. So that was Saturday. Today's Monday, and I sold it yesterday for $250. So yeah, I paid $5, and I got an authentic Harry Potter wand from Disney World. So there's only one other one listed for $90. I mean, I could probably get decent money. I have a friend who's been asking me for Harry Potter shit, so I'm going to see if they want it first. And then if not, I'll probably try to get $50, $60. So yeah, all in all, it was a good little stop because I wouldn't have, if I didn't go to that sale, I would have not gone to that other sale, the one that just popped up. So that's pretty dope. I didn't expect it to. I grabbed it just because I always grab digital cameras when they're $5 because it's decent gamble. But then I couldn't tell if she was trying to charge me for the box separately. She had them out separately, and so I put the camera in the box, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I won't charge you for that." And I was like, "Were you gonna charge me for the camera?" So I was so confused because when I paid her, she paid me out as if I had paid for the camera, and this other, I think I got was a Tonka truck. And I had paid the other lady for her wand, and so when she paid me out, she had made it paid me out for the two things rather than S1E33, but I was very confused why she said that. I was like, are you trying to charge me for the box that this comes in? Like, I mean, I get it. Like, it's, but she has no idea that the box is worth anything. Like, I don't even know if the box is worth anything, but it was whatever. So I grabbed that, and yeah, it sold really fast. So, but yeah, it was raining pretty hard Saturday, and then Sunday, it was pretty damp, but the rain held off in the morning. So there was a few sales. So I got some decent shit. I got some Nikes. What else did I get? I got like this really heavy Gore-Tex LL Bean jacket. I didn't realize it was Gore-Tex until I got home and I was starting to look it up, because I was going back and forth on getting it because the guy wanted $10 for it, but that was a pretty good price. And I also got a Patagonia jacket from him and like a Beats speaker. So it ended up, oh yeah, and a Texas Instrument calculator. Those things always sell pretty good. Man, I'm trying to get my daughter to go to sleep. She's supposed to be taking a nap, and she's not napping right now. She's up, and I don't know what to do about it. I'm not sure why she's up right now. So anyway, I'm not going to get distracted with that shit. So, yeah, so Sunday, I get the Gore-Tex jacket, and then I go to this guy's sale. Well, so let me back up. I went out, left the house around like 7:15, because there was supposed to be a sale about 15 minutes away that started at 8. There were several ads for this sale that said it started at 8. So I showed up there at 7:30, which is, in this area, that's pretty late to show up to a sale. You know what I mean? Like, if I show up at 7:30, a lot of times I'm already been beat to the good stuff. So I get there, and the guy's like, "Oh, I don't open till 10." I go, "Oh, your ad says 8." And he goes, "Does it?" And I go, "Yeah, I can show you." So I showed him. He shows his wife. He's like, "Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be 10." I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." So his dog's out, and like, it was a gorgeous dog. It was a pit bull with like these crazy brindle spots. Like, it almost looked like a friggin' cheetah or something. But it starts jumping. He's like, "Oh, he's not aggressive. He doesn't, he doesn't bite or anything like that." This fucking dog starts jumping on me. And I loved like fucking saying what's up to dogs. We don't have a dog right now just because we've got the 2 kids, and like, we have 3. Our house is really awkward to have a dog. So my mom has a dog next door. So, and we started walking him. Now that the girls are a little bit older, I can kind of control the dog and the girls. So we take the dog on a walk. So anyway, this fucking dog's jumping up on top of me, like, and its paws are going into my stomach, like my midsection. And I can feel that his nails are friggin' sharp as fuck. Like, this dog needs his nails clipped, like, and I'm like, yeah, dog's like pretty friggin' aggressive, like, not aggressive, but like just like playful aggressive, you know what I mean? Like, and the dude's just like, yeah, he's he's not harmful, blah blah blah. And then so I leave and I come back, and because at this point he's like, "Oh, I'm not open until 10, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "All right, whatever." So I'm like, I'll just go wherever and stop by if it's on my way back. And it just happened to be on my way back, so I stopped, and he's got the dog like on a leash up away from the sale. And so these people are like talking, blah blah blah, and like, he starts telling him about the dog. He's like, "Oh yeah, he's very friendly, like, here, let me grab him." And he goes to let this dog off the thing. I just start walking away because I'm like, and this dog was like, looked like such a good dog, but this dude just was like, didn't have his nails clipped. It wasn't trained at all. Like, this thing was just jumping up and down on people. And so I just like I started leaving because there wasn't shit I wanted there anyway. Its prices were crazy high. And so I started leaving because I'm just like, all right, I don't want to fucking have to deal with this dog again. Because it was it's a pit bull, dude. So it's a strong ass fucking dog. That's what the last dogs I had were pit bulls. Like, they are fucking strong ass fucking dogs. And so I'm used to them. But this fucking dog ends up just jumping up on top of me so bad that, like, I get home and I have scratches on my stomach. Like, I didn't realize. I was telling my wife about it, and then all of a sudden, like, I checked and I'm like, oh shit, like, it scratched the shit out of me. So I, like, had to put shit all over my stomach, like, but yeah, dude, that dude's gonna, like, that fucking guy should not have a dog. Like, you gotta fucking keep that dog in check. Like, dogs like that cannot be, because they'll do some shit and then the dog will get put down because this fucking retard doesn't know how to control his dog. So that reminds me of another time I was at a sale and there was this guy had his dog out. I don't understand why people feel the need to have, like, I get it, you want your pet to feel included. Like, if it's a dog that just chills, that's fine. That's one thing. But if your dog is fucking in people's shit, like, problematic, like, then you got to put that shit away. Like, and again, I'm a dog person. I fucking love dogs. But, like, you're doing a disservice to your dog. So I'm at this sale and this guy has this dog and it keeps coming up to me. It's a little dog. Like, it's like a little fucking Shih Tzu or some fucking dog. I forget what it was. And I'm like, fine with the dog. It's whatever. I'm fine with the dog. But the dog just, kept kind of bothering people. And so this guy shows up and he's clearly autistic or, I don't know, like, so he had something going on. And the dog was freaking him the fuck out. Like, he probably acted that way, like, with people most of the time too. But, like, the dog was freaking him the fuck out. And the wife is, like, telling the husband, like, hey, get the dog in the house, blah, blah, blah. And the husband's just, like, not paying attention to the way this guy's behaving at all. Like, like, just fucking clearly clueless. And he's just like, why? The dog's not bothering everybody. The wife's like, yeah, it is. And, like, she didn't want to be like, yeah, this fucking guy over here. But, like, yeah, I mean, most people don't mind the dog, but, like, the guy clearly had something going on with him. And, like, it wasn't drugs or anything. There was clearly something, like, mentally going on. And, so this fucking guy's just like, yeah, the dog's not bothering anybody. Like, as this dude's having a fucking meltdown in his garage. I was just like, the fuck? Oh, man. So, all right, let me pause. That's a good place to pause because I got to go check on my fucking kid real quick. All right, I'm back. Sorry. My youngest daughter used to be the one that would sleep the best. Like, she would just go up and fall asleep immediately. My oldest was a pain in the ass to get to fall asleep. I had to walk her around. And that was kind of my fault. We got her into, like, bad habits. We were new parents. We didn't really know. But my youngest, we got her into good sleep patterns and all that bullshit. She was doing really good for a while, but the last week it's been like a sleep regression. And so she was supposed to go to sleep at noon, and it's now 1 o'clock, and she's still awake, and we got to leave in a little over an hour to go get her sister for school. So I'm hoping that she falls asleep soon and gets a small nap. But yeah, I feel like because we had such a hard time with my oldest sleeping, I was so, like, she was just so easy. I felt like fucking Obi-Wan and was it the third one? The episode 3, where he's like, you were supposed to be the chosen one, or whatever the fuck he says. That's how I felt. I was like, oh, dude, you're supposed to be the one that slept with no problems. But it is what it is, So yeah, Sunday was weird for sales. It was raining, and a lot of the sales got, switched to one day, or they were only one day. And so there was one sale that I went to, like the first sale that I went to, the guy was like, oh, I'm not open until 10, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, cool. Then the next sale I went to, they were supposed to open at 8 o'clock, and it was like 7:50, and there was like 3 of us hanging out, and they made us wait till 8 o'clock on the dot. And the wife told us, because there was stuff outside. They're like, oh, we're still setting up inside. They were not still setting up inside. We could see them. They had the door wide open. They were just standing there talking. And it was like the most crazy power trip shit I've ever seen. And so then, but the wife had said, like, when we first came up, I was like, oh, is this stuff like, could we take a look at this stuff? And she's like, yeah, you can start looking at this stuff outside. So I started grabbing stuff that I was interested in. That's where I got like the Gore-Tex jacket. And the guy comes out, he's like, we're not open till 8. And I go, that lady said that I could start grabbing stuff, or like she said it was fine. And one of the other guys that was there was that guy Mark that I know. He's like, yeah, I heard her say that. She said it to all three of us. He's like, I got stuff too. And she came out and she was like, yeah, that's my fault. It was a miscommunication. So I was like, all right, so are we allowed to look or not? Like, she's like, yeah, it's fine. And so we had to wait until 8 o'clock, and then they finally let us in. There wasn't that much shit inside. All the stuff I got was outside. I just had to wait and pay. So, but I was like, it was just a weird day for like, it's a 1 day sale. You're going to be having a 1 day sale because of the weather. And you're going to, like, people are turning people away. like, sorry, you gotta wait. It's like, if I didn't find anything I wanted outside, I probably would have left. But luckily I found that jacket and some other shit. But yeah, it's just and it was like a damp, rainy day. And then I went to this sale. Sometimes I'm quick because you grab stuff and other people are coming, and like whenever I get to a sale, there's always somebody like right behind me that I know. Like I was grabbing stuff and I heard this lady like, oh, is that my friend? I'm like, oh, it's that fucking lady I was talking about a couple weeks ago. And she's like, oh, I don't remember your name. And this lady calls me by my name all the time. And she goes, I don't remember your name. I was like, you remember my name. I go, you call me by my name all the time. And she goes, well, what is it again? I go, Perry. I'm like, so I don't know if she's like, early stages of dementia or what. But she calls me by my name all the time. Or if she was just fucking around. I don't know what that was. But yeah, she's always like wants the similar shit that I got. So there was these Nikes I had seen when I first walked in. I was trying to feel out her prices. You know what I mean? So she had these jerseys and I asked how much and she told me, and like she wanted like $20 for this fake Lamar Jackson jersey. I could tell it was fake. I grabbed it initially and I was like, oh, this is a sick jersey. And I started looking at it. And then I was like, when she said the price, I was like, I started doing the more thorough inspection because I was like, oh, if it was like $1 or $2. Then I asked how much the shoes were, and she was like $2. And there's a pair of Nikes, like glow in the dark Nike. I can't remember what they are, but they're sick ass shoes. So I grabbed those for $2, and I grabbed one of the jerseys. She had a Tom Brady salute to service, like a youth. Like all I ever find is youth jerseys. That's the only ones that people sell, but like I bring them back. My wife always steals them. She wouldn't wear this one. That's just not, it's like the camouflage one. She just doesn't wear camouflage shit. But she was like, so yeah, I initially was like, oh, she might want it, but then yeah, she didn't want it, so I'm gonna sell it. But yeah, I always feel like I gotta feel out when you're trying to feel out a price and somebody's coming up. It's hard because I've never had it before where somebody like offered a better price than me, but like it's hard sometimes when you're negotiating. I don't know why I just kind of got a little sidetracked. I was thinking about something else. Anyway, all right, let me fuck. So yeah, Saturday night we did our first whatnot. It was, I'll go into detail about it, but it was harder than I thought it would be, but it was also easier than I thought it would be. And I'll start by saying that I watched like a YouTube video. I think it was like the Nashville Flipper had a video about like what to know before you do a whatnot stream. And in his video, he's like, I started with 20 items just to, get a feel for it. And I started with 291 items, like a fucking idiot. But it was all independent comic books, and I wanted to do something that I could do cheap, and something that I knew I had the means to ship, and something that I could just kind of do a bunch of. And so my wife came and helped me with it, and we just, we had a couple beers while we were doing it. I had put some music on, and the setup was like I scanned in all 291 books, but I did like lots and stuff too. So it wasn't like that, just individual books. There was a lot of individual books, but I was doing a lot of lots as well. And the first, we went live for 2.5 hours. So we put the kids down, and then we started going live at 9 p.m. and went live for 2.5 hours. And it was fun. We had a good time. The first hour, there's people coming in. Like, I can see the potential. We're definitely going to do it again. There's people coming into the stream regularly. They give you like a $25 credit to use in the stream. So I did that, and they double your money. So I think I made like $36. And they double that, so $672 minus whatever fees, so probably about $60. But like once you're doing it, it's kind of easy. And we were kind of putting like because we had so many books, I was trying to go through everything quickly. For some reason I thought like that the auction just runs, but you have to kind of do each item, and you have to set it up on your phone or whatever you're using to stream. So we just did it from my phone, which was really easy. So you can essentially do it anywhere, which is cool. So like if I want to do a storage unit or something like that, like I can do it from the storage unit and just fucking sell shit right there. So yeah, I can see the potential. We're definitely going to do it again. I've got like a shitload of Bratz dolls, a shitload of Monster High dolls that I got just dirt cheap at yard sales just throughout I've just been saving them for whatnot. I sell like the expensive ones. Like I've got the last yard sale I went to that I got Bratz dolls at, I got, I think 3 rare ones all at the same sale. It was like a set of 2 twins. I think I've already said that on here, but so I have a bunch of those. So we're definitely going to do it again. But yeah, for the first hour, there was like no sales. And then, just as we were kind of losing steam, we started to get a bunch of sales. We got this one guy just buying up a bunch of shit. And then we were talking in the chat. I got to get better about that. The last podcast I did the Itty Bitty podcast. And I was trying to do interviews and shit. And I had this dude that I worked with. And he did racing, like I forget what type of racing, but like fucking he was like professional to level, I think, but like the next level down, and it was on like dirt track, I think. I can't remember all the details, but anyway, he used to do like a racing simulator, and he would go live. And so he's like, oh, you should come on. We could promote the podcast, blah, 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 blah. And I remember I went on, and he was like a very like kind of blunt dude about shit. And so afterwards he was like, yeah, people probably thought you sucked. I was like, yeah, it was my first time going live. Like, but I learned like watching him. I was mostly there to learn. Like I didn't realize I was going to be, talking. He wanted me to talk a lot more, but I was talking as much as I could. It was kind of hard because he's doing his thing, and I didn't want to fucking distract him. He's doing this like racing shit because it's also his training for like the real thing. But so yeah, but I did learn like, yeah, you got to talk to people on the stream, and so that'll get better. Obviously, the podcast has gotten better, I think. don't actually reply to that. It's a rhetorical statement. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. So my wife was like, started to get into it, and we were gonna like wrap it up, and she was like, "Oh, let's start doing these books." And she pulled out like a stack of books, and those books started going. She was like, "See, I knew these books would sell." And so like we started doing it for a little bit longer, and so it was like probably, I think at like an hour, I was like, "Oh, we'll probably just end up wrapping it up soon." And then we went for another hour and a half, and it just flew by. So yeah, definitely we'll do it again. They give like, there's a lot of like ways to do giveaways and shit. So like I'll probably do giveaways on them. But yeah, just the first one, we just wanted to do everything cheap, and just, so it was just, yeah, it's like a ton of work, and it took me away from eBay stuff a little bit. But like it didn't honestly take me that long to do that many. And if I'm doing a smaller show, the setup will be a lot easier. So it's like, I was thinking the setup was going to be a lot more difficult, and like, but like if I'm just doing smaller shows, like obviously I've got a ton of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures that I'm going to go and do a couple whatnot auctions on. So yeah, I'm excited because it'll be just another way for us to make some money. It gets my wife a little bit more excited about reselling. Eventually I want, once we can afford it financially, to, right now we're just still learning how to navigate with kids going to school and all that shit. But, cut down her hours and have her do more of the reselling stuff, and then eventually just do reselling full time if she wants to, whatever she wants to do. But anyway, it was fun. So we had a good time. It was a lot of work again, but it's, I think eventually it'll pay off. I did drop the podcast name, so if you're listening to the podcast from the Whatnot stream, thank you. I know it wasn't great. And then I kept, like, I would just make jokes, like, to make my wife laugh while we were doing it. And so I don't know, like, my wife thought they were, like, I think she was laughing more so at me then. Because we were having a couple Bud Light. Well, I had a couple Bud Lights while we were doing it. And all it takes for me is just a couple to get me feeling friggin' loosey-goosey. Oh my God, my fucking kid is still sleeping. She was just laying down. I thought she was asleep. What is happening right now? Dude, we took the dog for a walk this morning. She got up early. She wakes up at the crack of dawn. Like, any little noise wakes her up. Like, I could try to sneak in to wake my other daughter up, and she's like, pops her head up. She's like, "Morning, Dada." Like, oh, you're ready to go. So it's like two different kids. My other kid, fucking, you gotta like wake her up, fucking throw water in her face. No, you don't. I'm just kidding about that. But she's just is so slow to get up. So she's like a wide receiver after coming across the middle, getting fucking smashed by a linebacker. They're like, he's slow to get up. It's like, no, he's fucking dead, dude. He's just got his head taken off. But yeah, she's very much sleeps like her mom, and my other one sleeps like me. So, which is like, I don't know because I see my daughter in the crib, and she's like puts her feet up on the side of the crib. I used to do that shit when I was a baby. Not a baby, but like a kid. I remember doing that in like my bed, just like get like restless leg syndrome or some shit. Oh my goodness, why is this child fully standing up? All right, let me pause this for a second. Man, I was hoping to get some listings done after the podcast, but I've had to stop every 2 fucking seconds to go check on this kid, figure out why she's still awake. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with this kid right now. Anyway, she'll figure it out. She'll just have to sleep in the car or some shit. I don't know. So, anyway, back to the podcast. I was going to segue from the wide receiver analogy into fantasy football. I won't talk about it for that long. But I'm 1-1 right now. It's Monday night. I'm down like 20 points or something. We each have 2 players left. So the other team has a running back and a tight end, and I have a tight end and a running back. So we have the same things. So things could get a little bit hairy. I keep going up against like the top scoring players of the week. Every fucking week. Last week I just happened to score a shitload of points. This week I scored a shitload of points, but still. Not a shitload, but like, enough to beat, depending on tonight. So that's where I'm at right now. Tonight should be fun because I can't stay up for the games barely anymore, but it's probably going to come down to the end of the game. So who knows? We'll see. It's going to be a battle. The weather's starting to look like it's going to be shitty out again today. It rained all weekend, like I said. All right, let me pull up my little bag of tricks here. So we're getting about halfway through. Oh, yeah, so this was... So it's talked about how my daughter's starting school. And I think I've talked about it before, about how like we don't do a ton of sugar. We're not like those people that are like, you can't have any sugar, blah, blah, blah. I just don't understand the whole culture around like, you gotta give kids fucking candy and sugar because they're kids. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you gotta, like, we did it when we were kids. We had candy when we were kids. So like, let's give candy to our kids. Like, I don't, you know, you know what I mean? Like, my kid just doesn't. And because we've done it that way, like, she doesn't really want candy that often. So, or like, sweet shit. And going into school, I think she had chocolate milk like one time. You know what I mean? It's just like, because when she has sugar, she just acts like a fucking crazy psychopath. Like, not how a kid should act. And like, I feel like a lot of kids, I see kids acting like that. And it's because they're like, probably jacked up on fucking sugar. And so they like send you pictures of your kid throughout the day. And 2 of the pictures they sent was like 2 different lunch times. And so I didn't even catch this. My wife's a nurse, so she's like, health forward. And so she's like, yeah, she had 2 chocolate milks. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, she had there's 2 different pictures of her. And in 2 different pictures, there's a chocolate milk each time. So I'm like, this kid went into school like not ever having chocolate milk, like having it once and then doubling that in a day at preschool. And we gave her juice. So she had juice on top of that. So we pick her up and she's just like in tears. And we're like, oh, great. So like she hadn't eaten her food and she had like loaded up on sugar. So we had to like email the teacher to be like, yeah, she doesn't usually have chocolate milk, blah, blah, blah. So we said she could have like 1 a week, which is more than we really even want. But then like I talked to my daughter about it and I was like, yeah, I talked to your teacher and, we're not going to do chocolate milk all the time. Like, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to tell my teacher no chocolate milk. So I think she like felt like shit that day because she was just like, you know what I mean? And shit. So it's like she realized like, yeah, you can't. Like, she didn't even fight me on it. She wasn't like in every picture we see now. It's the regular milk. So it's yeah. But I wasn't like, we messaged the teacher. I wasn't like a dick or anything. I actually did it under my wife's thing because she had already pulled it up. So I just like started to write it on hers. And I was like, well, we'll just send it from yours. And so she was cool about it. She was like, I was more so like, it'll be easier for you You know what I mean? Like I tried to word it to be like she'll be more agreeable and like easier to manage if she's not jacked up on sugar. And but other than that, yeah, she had a good time. And like, but it's just crazy that like in preschool they're like, and oh, the craziest part. So like we asked and we're like, hey, you know, we asked about the chocolate milk, and she's like, oh, I usually let the kids choose what they would like, and you know, so it's either chocolate or regular. I'm like, like that's the decision that you want to leave up to the kid. Like most kids at 9 times out of 10 are gonna be like chocolate. Like, yeah. So that part was just like, well, I get like trying to let them make decisions and shit, but like maybe like, and that's the other thing. The menu, they send you a menu home, and it's like, yeah, they can choose from milk or juice. Like that's like the choices on the menu, and not once does it say chocolate milk. So we're like, okay, you know, sorry, I'm trying to do the math of how many minutes I've done, so I'm not going too far over. So I think I'm at 32 minutes right now. So 32. Okay, so let's call 04 is 30. Okay, so 34. Anyway, sorry, just trying to do a little bit of math. Don't have a producer. And my kid's distracting me because she's still fucking awake. So, all right, what's the next thing I was going to talk to? Oh, so I went to a yard sale, and I was probably in the wrong. I feel like I've started a lot of yard sale stories like that. I was probably in the wrong, but so I get to this sale in the morning, and it's these people that do like estate cleanouts, and like, you know, I'm friendly with them. And so, you know, I tell the lady like, hey, she tells me that she's got comics coming later. So I was like, all right, I gave her my card. I was like, can you just let me know, whatever. So she hadn't let me know like when it was supposed to be there, but she had told me around the time. So I was like, all right, I'll just swing by. And it was like 20 minutes to get over there. So I, you know, scoot over there. And she's like, oh, they haven't showed up yet. So this is my second time being there at this point. So I'm like, all right. So I was like, I'll come back. Just let me know if they get here, blah, blah, blah. So then I come back again, and I get there, and this chick's going through the books. I'm like, this fucking... And she's like, doesn't know anything about comic books, you can tell. And so she asks the lady the price, and she tells her the price, and she's like, oh. And so she's like trying to decide which one she wants at this point. She's got a giant stack. And I had like a babysitter for my kid for just a few minutes. So I'm trying to get back to that. So I'm just like sitting there, and I'm going through, and there was a stack she was about to go through, but she hadn't got to it yet. So I'm like, I'm going to go through that because she's taking her fucking time. So I start going through the next box and pick out a few that I want. And so then I'm like waiting now, because she's like, I can tell she's like not going to buy them all. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to wait and see whatever ones you're not going to get, I'll take a look at. And she's like, oh, okay. So then she starts like, her mom comes over, and her mom's like taking a picture of each one, like scanning them. Like, yeah, we don't know anything about comics. And I'm like, well, what the fuck are you doing? Like, so then I start being borderline rude. Like, not rude, but just like, you know, the lady's like asking me. I was like, yeah, I was, you know, I missed out. I got, you know, this is my third time coming back, and I got here and got beat to them. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And she's over here scanning every single one. And so then, like, I think she probably then was taking more time, but whatever. I was going to, you know, leave anyway. Just wanted to talk some shit. So I was probably in the wrong there, but she was there first. But she was like just fucking like like, I don't know what she was doing with them. I don't know if they were selling them or what, but they were like, she was looking at them for covers that she, I don't know what the fuck she was talking about. And then they were talking to me like I was going to help them. They're like, yeah, you look like you know about this. I'm like, yeah, I do. So let me look at them, and then I'll take the ones I want. You get the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, you take the leftovers. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's whatever. I took off. And, but yeah, I was probably in the wrong on that one. Let me see. Oh, I have a little buy nothing hack. So if you're if you've ever used buy nothing groups, like I won't ever take stuff that's like the people specifically are like, that they're like, oh, I want this to go to kids, or I want this, I'll never take stuff like that. But if they're just like, here's a video game system, or here's this, whatever, and it's up for grabs, I'll take it to resell it. Like, they just want it gone. And so there's one group that I'm part of that's like a more higher end area. So they have a lot more good shit that goes on there. And a lot of times I'll get to it and somebody else has already commented by like a few minutes. But I've started doing this trick, and it's worked the last few times that I've tried it. So far it's had like 100% success rate. And so something will be posted, like this lady posted video games. Somebody had already commented on it, but the lady hadn't responded yet. So what I do is I type their name. If you start typing their name in the little comment thing before you leave the thing, their name will pop up and you can tag them. So you tag their name in the comment and you say, I'm interested. And I usually put like when I can pick it up, and I send that to them. So then they get a notification. Boom, somebody said they're interested. More times than not, they're just going to click that one and respond to that person. And the last 3 times I've tried it, it's worked. So take that with what you will with it. That's my little tip of the day. If you came here to learn something, I'm sorry. Most of the time you're not going to, but try it. Let me know if it works. Don't publicly let me know if it works, because I don't want other people to know my secret. But like quietly, discreetly tell me if it works. All right, what's the next topic on the fucking list? I have a decent sized list, but oh yeah, so we got sick. It was like, what was it, last weekend? Not this past weekend, but the weekend before. My daughter started coughing, and she coughs right in my fucking face, like most of the time. She's just coughing directly into my face. And so she ends up getting sick. Like Sunday, she felt like shit all day, but then she woke up Monday and was fine. So she went to school. But then Tuesday, I woke up and like me and my other daughter were sick. And like it was like a whole day thing. So my wife ended up being home. So she was basically like taking care of me and my other daughter. And so I ended up watching Chimp Crazy. It's like on HBO, I think. And it's from the same director of Tiger King. So I don't know if you've ever watched Tiger King. So I don't know if I've told my Tiger King story, but Jacob, who was on the podcast, we did LSD like before the pandemic, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Some people say, I like when people say plandemic. Like I don't doubt that it wasn't like a planned thing. Like I don't have obviously like conspiracy theories about it. I wouldn't if you told me it was, I would be like, yeah, okay, probably. But it's just funny when people say that. It just makes me giggle. Anyway, that's all I was saying. But anyway, so we take the acid and we're like in the woods. We had planned on doing it. And then they were like, yeah, you're not supposed to hang out with your friends. Your friends are going to kill you. You're going to die, blah, blah, blah. So we were like, well, this was the day that we were planning on doing acid. Like we gotta, like, this is the day. You know what I mean? Like, my wife was pregnant. So, like, soon after that, she was going to be giving birth. So I'm like, this is, like, when we can do it. So we go up to, like, the basically like the woods or the mountains or whatever fucking in Washington and do acid. And we're out there fucking around. Like it was me, him, and his dad. And we had a good time. It was like fucking crazy. Like we still like there was nobody else out there. And so we just like basically had this beat up old truck. We were driving around to different spots, hitting golf balls into the woods and shit. Like just having fun, you know, messing about. And then when we came back, I went home and I was still kind of like buzzing. My wife was still at work, and I started watching Tiger King, and I ended up watching, like, stayed up because I couldn't fall asleep, and I just watched like most of the first season. Like, I know there's one season, but most of the whole thing. So then the next day, my wife gets home and she's off, and I'm like, we gotta watch this thing, and I'm still barely sleeping. I'm still like, I like that. I won't do acid again. I fucking hate not being able to sleep after. Like, regardless of whatever time I take it. Like, I took it at like 12 in the afternoon that day, and I could not sleep. And so yeah, we watched the whole thing, and then like the COVID shit happened, and like, so I'm like, part of me is like, dude, am I still up on that mountain, like, just fucking tripping balls, like, you know what I mean, like. So anyway, I was watching Chim Crazy, and it kind of gave me like flashbacks to that, and I'm like, shit, dude, is this really happening right now? But yeah, that documentary, if you haven't seen it, it's crazy. The lady's just giving this fucking chimpanzee McDonald's the whole time, and she's fucking, all those people are fucking insane. The whole time, the very beginning starts, and there's like putting kids in chimpanzees' laps. I'm just like, dude, this chimp is gonna rip this kid apart. Like, what are you doing? Just making me nervous the whole time. Just, yeah. But anyway, so we watched, there was only 4 episodes. I watched that while I was sick. Pretty much finished it in like a day. But yeah, that was that brought me back to 2020 watching that documentary. And then the other thing so this was just like a thought I had with all the Diddy stuff that has been coming out about like P. Diddy parties. So a few years back, when I lived in LA and I had all my black roommates, I didn't know that like NBA All-Star Weekend is apparently huge in the black community. And so like, or maybe it's just LA. Maybe that's an LA thing. I don't know. But it was in LA, I think, that weekend. So like, we were partying the whole weekend. I probably told this story before. And we were supposed to go to, this girl had like passes or something to a Diddy party. So the whole day we're like, oh, we're going to a Diddy party, this, that, and the other. And so we get there, and we were supposed to get in free, like VIP, all this shit. And the guys like tried to charge us each like $100 a head. And so we were like, nah, fuck this. And I remember like saying out the window to the dude, like, yeah, $100 a head, you guys better have fucking Biggie Smalls up there, fucking his corpse like dancing or some shit, or his hologram. But I was very drunk. I think I've told that story before. But anyway, I just narrowly avoided 1,000 bottles of lube. And then that just reminded me of another story. I'll tell real quick just with the rain, because it reminded me. We were at a party years ago. This has nothing to do with reselling. So this is like if I was going to do a podcast, follow-up podcast where there's nothing about reselling, it would just be, never mind. I fucked that whole thought up. I'm sorry. Just back it up. Anyway, party a few years back, and we are like, we're getting ready to leave because the party's kind of lame. So my friends are like, oh, will you roll a blunt in the car? And I was the driver, so I was like, all right, whatever. I'll roll the blunt. We'll smoke a blunt and then leave. So I'm parked at this house party, and we're getting ready to leave. And, oh, no, we did leave. But we're at this house party. And so I roll a blunt while we're waiting, and it's raining. And so I like, throw the blunt guts out the window, get everything together, roll the blunt, everybody gets in, we leave. And not my proudest moment, but I was drinking and driving. I used to do it a lot. I was a young lad. I don't do it anymore. Obviously I have kids, too much to lose, but like I did it, I have a DUI from when I was like 19. It's just, my friends always wanted me to drive. And, I wanted friends, so I said yes. Hold on a second. Sorry, I've been like feeling very zenful, so I threw a Zin in. I buy Zins when I'm drinking, and then I give the full pack pretty much to my neighbor. But I haven't seen him yet, so I just like threw a Zin in. Just because I was like, well, fuck it, why not? Anyway, so we're driving to wherever we're going, I think, and we've got alcohol in the car. My buddy the next day was leaving. This was like around the time that he was leaving to go to Afghanistan. And so we get pulled over, and the cops like immediately asked me if I rolled a blunt in the car. I'm like, that's a specific question. Like, I think I was driving clutch and my foot slipped off the clutch, and so my car stalled and I had to turn it on. They pulled me over for that because it was behind me. I got nervous. What can I say? And so, like, you know, took us out of the car after, like, I told him I didn't roll a blunt in the car. I was like, no, I didn't roll a blunt. Like, he's like, don't fucking lie to me. So they take us out of the car, like, you know, search the car, probably illegally, but whatever. We were all kids. We tell them that we're hanging out because my buddy's going to Afghanistan tomorrow, this, that, and the other, to find alcohol. My buddy's like, oh, that's mine. You know, he was trying to take the fall for me. He's like, you know, I'm leaving, this, that, and the other. So the other cop takes me aside. There's like doing good cop, bad cop. The one dude's like keeps like yelling at me and shit, calling me a liar. And I'm like, I don't know how this dude fucking knows that I was lying about this. So the other cop pulls me aside and he goes, hey, we know you were rolling a blunt in your car. And I'm like, he's like, just don't lie. He's like, look at the side of your car. And I look at the side of my car, and when I was rolling the blunt in the rain and I dumped the blunt guts out, they stuck to the side of the fucking car. So my car had blunt guts stuck to the side of it. That's why the first fucking thing he asked me was, did you roll a blunt in this car? I said no. So they let us go. Let us drive home. Let us drive home, which they probably shouldn't have done. But yeah, got home back to my buddy's house, got even more fucked up. And me and my buddy got into a fight about it because we were drunk, and he like kicked my car and shit. It was like a whole thing. But yeah, that was fucking really stupid. I don't know why I thought I'd throw that in at the end of the podcast, but anyway, it's going to be a little bit shorter today. I'm going to have to wrap it up and go deal with this kid because she's still not sleeping, so I'm going to have to throw her in the car and drive around for a little bit. So, all right, that's the podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends. Follow us now, Flips and Giggles, eBay, whatnot, Pothead Picker on Instagram. I actually tried to change my name the other day to Perry Flips on Instagram, but it said that username's taken, and I can't find any other username. There's one that says Perry Flip, but it's not Perry Flips. So, and there's literally nobody to talk to at Instagram, so it's just Pothead Picker from now on, I guess. So, all right, that's the podcast. Wish me luck tonight. Crushing my enemies in fantasy football.